Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And our guests today are the athletes and journalists commenting on their races and impressions from the World Indoors in Glasgow. So let's go straight to the action from the indoors. Now, it was a very high quality event, the second best ever points total with 49,159, not far behind the last edition, Belgrade 22, which had the highest score before that with 49,348. A number of records were also set in the Scottish capital, 2 world records, 5 championship records, 10 area records, 54 national records, and 14 world leads. Now, this is quite impressive, especially in an Olympic year when some of the stars of the sport often skip the world indoors. So the 2 world records were set by 2 ladies who had already topped the all-time lists earlier this year, Femke Bol and Devin Charlton. Dutch star Femke Bol took another 700ths of the time she had bettered only 2 weeks before at the Dutch Championships, bringing it to 49.17. And the joy was double as her compatriot and training partner, Lieke Klaver, took silver in 50.16, not far behind from her PB, which she had also set at the recent nationals. The other world record came from Bahamian hurdler Devin Charlton, who lowered it to 7.65, improving her own mark in the 60 meters hurdles from 3 weeks before by 200ths to win over the 2022 world indoor champion, France's Sirena Samba Majela and Poland's Pia Krzyzewska. Top marks among the women included, of course, the world records, but also a very high quality 3,000 meters race where the USA's Elle St. Pierre surprisingly defeated hot favorite Gudaf Segai in 8:20.87 to the Ethiopians 8:21.13. That was a championship record for St. Pierre, who also improved the NACAC record at the distance, taking over 400ths of the previous mark, becoming the 3rd fastest woman of all time. And the whole race was very fast, which is quite unusual for a championships race, and produced 2 more area records. The first came from Australia's Jessica Hull, who ran 8:24.39 to finish just off the podium, but was rewarded with yet another Oceania record. And further behind, Japan's Nozomi Tanaka finished 8th in 8:36.03, improving the Asian record by over 3.5 seconds. So let's recap the top performances among the women. The best mark overall was Femke's world record, but it's quite surprising that the 4 next best marks came from the 3,000 with Elle St. Pierre, Gudaf Segai, Beatrice Chepkoech, and Jessica Hull, and their performances were worth more in points than Devin Charlton's world record over the 60 meters hurdles. And then a special performance, which is not among the best in terms of points, but it does allow the Netherlands 4x400 relay to move into number 4 of all time on the short track lists with their performance of 3:25.07. Among the men, top performances came in the field events. Ryan Krauser added to his collection the only senior world title he was missing, dominating the shot put final with a throw of 22 meters 77, a championship record. And he had another 4 throws over 22 meters, as well as a foul, to win by 70 centimeters over New Zealand's Tom Walsh, 22.07 and 22.03, and 81 centimeters over Italy's Leo Fabbri with 21.96. Another star performer was, as expected, Mondo Duplantis, who was also far ahead of the competition, clearing 6 meters 05 to 5 meters 90 for Sam Kendricks in second place. And as for the king of the indoor hurdles, Grant Holloway, the American continued his impressive win streak, which is now over 60, equaling the championship record with 7.29, just 200ths off his recent world indoor record. And here are all the top men's performances. So topping the list is Ryan Krauser with his humongous 22.77 in the shot put, then Mondo Duplantis, and followed by 2 performances by Grant Holloway, his 7.29 in the final, but he had also run 7.32 in the semis. And at the next spot is Christian Coleman. He had equaled Noah Lyles' world lead with 6.43 in the semis, and then clocked 6.41. So reversing the order of the USA championships and trials, and upsetting Noah's plan to prove that he is the number 1 fastest man on Earth. And among the men, the special performance was by Simon Ehammer, who in the heptathlon scored 6,418 points and moves up to equal number 9 in the all-time lists. But the 2024 World Indoors was particularly exciting because of some truly unexpected results. The biggest surprise was probably El Saint Pierre defeating Gudav Segai in the 3,000, which we already discussed. But there were several other major upsets. In another shocker among the women, former heptathlete Thea Lafont of Dominica defeated triple jump favorite Leyanis Perez Hernandez of Cuba to win the first ever medal for her island of 70,000 inhabitants. And she made that victory even more significant by producing the first jump of the year over 15 meters, 15.01 to 14.90 for Perez Hernandez. And there were also some big upsets in the men's events. In the 400 meters, it was Belgium's Alexander Dome, not so much for inflicting the first ever 400-meter indoor defeat on Karsten Warholm. After all, the Norwegian had only decided to take part days before the competition and was contesting his first race of 2024. But it was the way in which the Belgian did it, improving his 2023 PB from 46.06 to 45.69 in the semis, and then chopping off another big chunk in the final to win in 45.25, overtaking the Norwegian in the final part of the race. Spanish journalist José Luis López spoke to the elated Belgian after the 400-meter final.
Congratulations. How has been the race?
Yeah, really fantastic. We know that Karsten would start really fast. I know I have a really big end-shot at the end. Yeah, we tried to follow him and we did a really good job. And yeah, the last 50 meters I felt really strong, so I could go over him, and now we're world champion.
And how has been the last meters? In your mind, you will see the champion?
Yeah, the last 50 meters felt really strong. I felt I could pass Karsten. Okay, he opened a little bit at the end, what's normal. But okay, we try to pass him, and it worked. So yeah, really super happy with the result today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dome then took a second gold in the 4x400 meter relay. Now, Belgium had won that title in Belgrade with Dome running in second leg. In Glasgow, he anchored Belgium to a repeat gold, clocking the fastest final split with 44.88 to overcome the USA's Chris Bailey, who clocked a 45.32 split, and Belgium prevailed by 600ths of a second. So that was really impressive. And talking about the mile relay, you remember how at the World Athletics Awards, Noah Lyles had set himself a new challenge for 2024 to also make the USA's 4x400 meter relay team and win gold in Paris? Well, Noah Lyles was integrated into the US relay team for the final, running the second leg. Of course, the competition will be a lot tougher to make the relay team for Paris, but that's an interesting development. But back to upset results in Glasgow. Jordi Beamish was an even greater surprise champion in the 1500 meters. The New Zealander had decided to move to the 3,000 meter steeplechase last year, finishing fifth in Budapest and third in the Diamond League final, feeling that he lacked the speed to be among the elite in the shorter distance. But in Glasgow, he proved he sure can kick, as he entered the final straight in fifth position, running down his competitors from lane 3 and charging past Cole Hawker and Hobbs Kessler, who had seemed to be heading for a US 1-2 right at the finish line, with an astonished look on his face that turned into pure delight as he took his victory lap. Let's hear what the newly crowned world indoor champion has to say after his race.
2 minutes only. Congratulations, amazing race with your personal best. It was a big surprise for you, this victory?
Yeah, I'd say so. Personal best doesn't seem that important when you put world champion next to it. Yeah, incredible feeling to come out and execute that on a night like tonight. Yeah, just incredible.
How has been the race, especially the last meters for you?
Yeah, I think it really played out, as good as I could have hoped for. I didn't get out too fast, and I don't think I wasn't running a world record tonight, and unfortunately I didn't need to. And just moderate pace, and I was able to put myself in the middle of the pack and give myself a shot with a couple of laps to go.
And finally, as a new world champion indoor, what are your goals in this season with the Olympic Games?
Yeah, I think they still feel a long way away, and a lot of training to be done before that. But yeah, I'd love to add to the medal collection.
Thank you, congratulations.
Cheers.
So overall, it was really an event which showcased new stars. Of the 17 defending champions who were present in Glasgow, only 5 retained their 2022 titles, while 12 of them did not. The repeat champions are Norvids in pentathlon, Grant Holloway in the 60 meters hurdles, Mondo Duplantis in pole vault, Miltiadis Tedoglu in the long jump, and as we saw, Belgium in the men's 4x400 relay. And it was a championship of many firsts. We already mentioned the first ever medal at any global event and a gold for Dominica's Thea Lafont in the triple. And that was a feat which was also achieved by another small Caribbean country, St. Lucia, with Julian Alfred winning the 60 meters. Hugues Fabrice Zongo also won Burkina Faso's first ever gold, but that was for indoors because, of course, he already had the outdoor world championship gold last August. And Noélie Yarigo of Benin, at 38 years of age, she secured the first ever global medal for her country, a bronze in the 800 meters. Saga van Nienen won the first ever world indoor championship medal for a Finnish woman with silver in the pentathlon. And there were first-time winners for their country in specific events. Alexander Dome for Belgium in the 400, Jordi Beamish for New Zealand in the 15, Josh Kerr for Britain in the 3,000 meters, Hamish Kerr of New Zealand in the high jump. And among the women, Tsige Duguma of Ethiopia over 800 meters. Now, she was a former sprinter. She was African under 20 silver at 200 meters in 2017. So that's an interesting new face among the Ethiopian ladies. Elle St. Pierre, as we saw in the 3000, Nicola Ollie-Slagers for Australia in the high jump, Molly Coddery of Great Britain in the pole vault. Now that was a big surprise. Obviously, Coddery had a great indoor season, but if you had asked last year if Molly Coddery would even medal, I would have definitely have said no. And the win is even more impressive as Coddery had 2 surgeries in 2023. And the final one is Sarah Mitten, who earned the first ever women's shot put medal for Canada. There were also many first-time medals for the minor placings. In the women's 60 meters, all 3 ladies earned their country's first medal at that event, as Poland's Ewa Swoboda and Italy's Zainab Dosso joined Julian Alfred on the podium. Swoboda had clocked a world lead of 6.98 in the semis, and then Alfred equaled that mark to win the final. While the Pole had to be content with silver in 7.00 ahead of Dosso in 7.05. And Dosso capped a startling breakthrough season. I mean, all 10 of her best personal top 10 marks are from this year. So truly change in gear there for Zainab Dosso. But let's speak a little more about Ewa Swoboda. This Polish sprinter was a standout athlete from her very early years. She set a still-standing world under-20 indoor record at 60 meters in February 2016 and won a silver medal at the World Under-20 Championships in the summer of that same year. She continued to excel on the European scene, but couldn't quite make it at the world level. She was injured shortly before the Tokyo Olympics, but bounced back with a 4th place at the World Indoors in Belgrade just months later and continued to improve her times both indoor and outdoor. And in Glasgow, Swoboda finally won her first global senior medal, and she relished every moment of it, as did Polish photographer Paweł Skraba, who took these great shots. These were taken after the heats in the morning session. After the semis, where Ewa set the world lead, she's blowing kisses. And those with the flag were, of course, taken after she won silver. Swoboda is such a character, very expressive and not at all camera shy. So we also have a video of the Polish sprinter. Let's take a look.
I'm very happy that I get medal here in Glasgow because 5 years ago I also got one at the European Championship. Now, when I cool down my emotions, I'm very happy and satisfied and proud that I did it. I knew that physically I'm well prepared, but I'm satisfied that also mentally it worked out. Mentally, I've changed a lot. Now I know where exactly I am, which place I am in, and what am I going to fight for. Now I realize that what I did is a huge achievement. Right after the start, I was very disappointed, and of course I was not satisfied with my score, but now when I cool down a little bit, I feel very satisfied. Of course, the appetite grows with what it fits on, so after the semifinals, when I got 6.98, which is the new record of which is the new Polish record. And I really wanted to have it earlier at the Polish championships, but I didn't. So I was obviously waiting for something more in the final. That's why a few hours after it, I was so disappointed. But now, as I said before, I'm very satisfied and grateful for my score. I do love running with the crowd cheering me up, and this time I could hear the crowd was cheering when my name was said. So I was really surprised that people recognized me and they were cheering up for me. It gave me so much strength, especially because we are not in Poland. So here there are fans from all over the world, especially from the UK and from Scotland. So that gave me the power and strength when I heard that they are cheering me up. Now I'm planning to focus on the European Championship in Rome and later on the Olympics, of course. Oh yes, I did some shopping here in Glasgow. I bought a handbag for £8, so I'm very happy with that.
Dziękuję, Eva. Again, I just love how expressive she is, and you feel totally involved in what she's saying, even if you don't understand Polish. But Pavel's girlfriend very kindly provided a translation. So back now to the World Indoors recap. We must mention 3 more area records which were set in Glasgow. In the men's 4x400 meter relay, Kenya set the African record twice, first clocking 3:06.96 in the heats, and then improving in the final to 3:06.71. New Zealand's sprinter Zoe Hobbs also set the Oceania record twice, as she ran 7:09 in the semis before improving to 7:06 to finish 4th in the final. In the men's high jump, another New Zealander, Hamish Kerr, equaled the Oceania record of 2 meters 36 to take a somewhat unexpected gold. And this leads us to the medal table, which was also rather surprising. So Team USA topped it with a total of 6 golds and 20 medals overall, and that was not surprising. But then look, Belgium in 2nd place and New Zealand in 3rd, ahead of Netherlands, Ethiopia, and Great Britain. That was really, really special. A lot of countries then won 1 gold medal: Sweden, Greece, Australia, Bahamas, Burkina Faso, Canada, Dominica, St. Lucia, Switzerland. And then there were countries who only took minor medals, starting with Italy with 2 silvers and 2 bronzes. In total, 15 countries won gold, and 32 countries won at least 1 medal. And the other country to record an outstanding showing in Scotland was, of course, New Zealand. Veteran Kiwi journalist Murray McKinnon recapped for us the extraordinary achievements of his country's athletes.
Outstanding historic result from New Zealand athletes. Gold medal to Hamish Kerr in the high jump, followed later in the day with a fantastic final lap from Geordie Beamish to claim gold in the 1500 metres. Everyone back in New Zealand were spellbound and elated as Beamish crossed the finish, bringing back memories of New Zealand's golden moment at the 1960 Rome Olympic Games, where Peter Snell won gold in the 800 metres, and later in the same day Murray Halberg gold in the 5,000 metres. Earlier in the programme at the World Indoors, silver medals to Eliza McCartney in the pole vault and to Tom Walsh on his 32nd birthday in the shot put. Added to these were Zoe Hobbs, 4th in the 60 metres, and Madison Lee Wishy, 4th in the women's shot put, and Jacko Gill, 5th in the shot put. New Zealand indoor records to 4 athletes, and a record equalling Oceania indoor record in the high jump and an Oceania women's 60-metre record. Athletics New Zealand were over the moon with the results posted, New Zealand finishing 3rd on the medal table, giving the athletes confidence and optimism to do well at the Paris Olympics.
Thank you, Murray. We also have video interviews with Ukrainian high jumpers Yaroslava Maguchik and Yulia Levchenko, but we'll publish them separately as they're both quite long. And in our final words on the world indoors, congratulations are due to sports flooring company Mondo. An impressive 300 world records have been achieved on their tracks after the last two in Glasgow. And their first one is special for Italy because it dated back to July 1972 when the Italian relay team, led by soon-to-be 200-meter world record holder Pietro Minea, set the world record over the 4x200 and in Minea's hometown of Barletta. And as we're closing the indoor season, except for the NCAA championships coming up, congratulations also go to the organizers of the indoor meeting in Liévin, which tops the points rankings scored by individual meets for the 5th year in a row. And that's quite amazing, especially because this year they didn't have a world record, but the overall level of performances again secured first place for Liévin. So that's it for the indoors in this show. And it's time now to leave stadium events and move to the roads because on 3rd March, the Tokyo Marathon was held. And of course, it was the first of the 2024 World Marathon Ragers. Results were excellent. And among the men, it was a Kenyan podium sweep, though perhaps not the names you were expecting. Victory went to Benson Kipruto in 2 hours 02:16, moving to number 5 in the world all-time list, ahead of Timothy Kiplagat with 2 hours 02:55 and Vincent Ngetich to 04:18. So very, very impressive showing by Kenya, but the story in Tokyo was as much about who didn't win, because the legendary Eliud Kipchoge had come into the race with an aura of invincibility despite his 39 years. But he started to fade, he started to fall behind at around the 20, just before the 20-kilometer mark, and never came back, finishing 10th in 2:06:50, his worst placing ever. Now, it's interesting that before the explosion on the marathon scene of Kelvin Kiptum, many had predicted that Benson Kipruto would be the one to take the mantle from then world record holder Eliud Kipchoge after he had won Boston in 2021 and Chicago in 2022. So that scenario now looks back on track. The women's event was also a high-quality race with an upset win by Ethiopia's Sutume Asefa Kebede in 2:15:55 over the more titled Rosemary Wanjiro of Kenya, 2:16:14, and reigning world champion, her compatriot Amane Beriso, who was third in 2:16:58. Sifan Hassan was running her third marathon, and after spectacular results in the first two, there were high expectations. But the Dutch superwoman had to be contented with fourth place in 2:18:05. So we'll see which events she decides to run in Paris. There were also some very good performances from another aspect of road events, the race walks, as the World Race Walking Tour took off in Taizang, China. And we will check them out when we review the top performances of the fortnight. In the meantime, things are heating up in cross country as countries start to select their team for the World Cross to be held at the end of the month in Belgrade. There were some surprises at the Kenya Cross Country Championships and World Cross Trials held on 2 March. Agnes Chebet Ngetich, who had set a spectacular 10-kilometer world record in mid-January, as well as setting the 5K world record in passing, reminded everyone that she's also a great cross-country runner. She had, after all, won bronze last year in Bathurst by winning the senior race over Immaculate Anyango Acholi and Lilian Kazait Rengeruk, with the reigning world cross champion Beatrice Chebet in fourth, and just 3 seconds separated each of the placings. Among the men, there was also versatility on show and closer finishes, as world half marathon champion Sebastian Sawe marginally won the race ahead of youngster Samuel Chebole Masai with the same time, followed by Gideon Rono and Jeffrey Kamworor, triple world cross champion and triple world half marathon champion, finished fourth. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in Belgrade. It's time now to go back to the global overview of our sport and check all the best results of the past fortnight. So starting with the men's senior events, of course, practically all of them are from Glasgow. We mentioned Christian Coleman getting back to the top of the world of the season's lists. Noah Lyles clocked 6:44 in the final, but he had to be content with second place. And Akeem Blake 6:46 behind the two leaders. 800 meters, a new world lead for Bryce Hoppel, 1:44.92. Now, this event, the mile, saw two great performances in New York City on 2 March by Vincent Chatey of the US, 6:50.56, and Jack Anstey of Australia. So those were very good marks outside the world indoors. Grant Holloway, we mentioned in the 60 hurdles. Hamish Kerr, also good result in the high jump. Mondo Duplantis and Sam Kendricks in the pole vault. Shot put Ryan Krauser with the second best performance of the year. Tom Walsh secured silver, and Leo Fabri was bronze, with Zane Weir not far behind with 21.85 for fourth place. So very good level in the shot put. And as we mentioned, Simon Ehammer, great performance in the heptathlon, and second placed Sanders Kotheim of Norway also recorded a very good performance with 6,407 points. And then we move to the outdoor events with these really excellent marks in Tokyo Marathon by Benson Kipruto and Timothy Kiplagat. Vincent Kipkemoin Getic, also very good mark, 2:04.18, and Haile Mariam Kiros, also in the top 8 of the event this season. Now, we had mentioned the race walk. Koki Ikeda still leads the world lists for the 20K, but in Taizang, there were very good performances among the men. Jun Zhang with 1:17.26 was declared the winner, and behind him, just behind him, because he has the same time, Italy's Olympic champion Massimo Stano. So that's a good sign of return to top level for the Italian. In third was Brazil's Caio Bonfim, 1:17.44, also a high level mark, followed by two Chinese athletes, Yan Dongli and Wang Zhangzhao, and more Chinese athletes with very good performances. Now, among the women, here all the top marks were recorded in Glasgow. We mentioned the sprints with Eva Svoboda and Julian Alfred, 400 with Femke Boll and Lieke Klaver, and this excellent 3,000 meters race, El St. Pierre, Gudaf Segai, Beatrice Chepkoech, and Jessica Hull, recording a truly great performance. Behind them, Laura Muir with 8:29.76 and Lemlem Hailu with 8:30.36 were also very good. Devin Charlton's world record over 60 meters, of course, makes the list. In the long jump, Tara Davis Woodhall, she had leapt to 7:18 at the US championships. And here she was again over 7 meters, taking gold in 7 meters 07. Thea Lafont over 15 meters to win the triple jump. Now in the shot put, the marks are not of the highest level, not as good as some of the others, but they're interesting because, as we said, Sarah Mitten won the first gold for her country after having triumphed already in Budapest. And behind her, a very much improved Yemizi Ogunleye of Germany was also throwing over 20 meters. The Netherlands mark, as we saw in the 4x400 relay. And then for the women in the outdoor events, also Tokyo Marathon with Sutuma Asefa Kebede, Rosemary Wanjiro, Amane Beriso, and Sifan Hassan, but also a good mark by Betsy Saina, who finished in 5th place into 1917. Now, under 18 and under 20 athletes, we will check all performances by underage athletes in the next show, because today is already a bit long and our main focus is the World Indoors in Glasgow. But we must, of course, mention here one under 20 athlete who achieved a great result at the World Indoors, and that is Italian long jumper Mattia Furlani. The under 23 European Rising Star and World Athletics Rising Star finalist had leapt to a fabulous 8:34 in the Italian indoors 2 weeks earlier, just 1 centimeter shy of the outdoor under 20 world record, and well over the previous under 20 world indoor best of 8 meters 22. In Glasgow, both Furlani and Miltiadis Tedoglu, who is the Olympic champion, world champion, and world indoor champion, landed at precisely 8 meters 22 in the first round on the morning final. And it was to be the winning mark for the experienced Greek, who had 3 more jumps over 8 meters, and the last one measured at 8 meters 19, while the Italian had 2 more jumps over 8 meters, but his second best was 8 meters 10. So a great global senior medal for young Furlani, battling it out with the best man in his event. So that concludes our review of the World Indoors and the main events of the fortnight. Let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. So Chinese race walking Grand Prix competitions continue in Taizang this weekend. And today and tomorrow, the NCAA Division 1 Indoor Championships take place in Boston. So that's going to be a great event to watch. Saturday and Sunday, European Throwing Cup in Leiria in Portugal. On the 10th of March, South American Race Walking Championships in Recife, the Nagoya Women's Marathon, and 16 March, the World Race Walking Tour continues. It moves to Europe, to Dudince in Slovakia. On the 17th, more race walking in Nami, Japan, where the Asian 20 kilometers race walking championships will be held. And then a really great competition expected on 18 to 22 March at the African Games in Accra in Ghana, which had to be postponed from last year. So that's an interesting fortnight coming up. So we're now at the end of our show. It was great reliving the wonderful 2024 World Indoor Championships, and I hope you all had as much fun as I did. So thank you all for watching. See you in 2 weeks on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the last fortnight. Thank you. Bye-bye.